This is the Sigma 50mm f1.4 art lens. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you why you should probably steer clear of this thing. So you've probably seen my video on the Sigma 35mm art I made a little while ago. If you haven't yet, go ahead and click right here to watch it now. Now, I had a lot of great things to say about that lens, and it stands to reason that if the 35mm was so good, maybe it's a good idea to continue stacking your lens bag with more Sigma primes. Well, I jumped in with the 50mm art, and I very quickly realized that that was a bad idea. I'll try and make this a compliment sandwich, because I don't just want to stand here and talk trash about Sigma. The 50 art is just crazy sharp, period. Full stop. This effect is especially noticeable on really high resolution cameras like the Nikon D800 series or the Sony A7Rs or the Canon 5DS. And here's the thing, if you already own one of those cameras, you probably bought it for a reason. You're probably doing work that would benefit from super sharp lenses. And for you, I would say, go ahead and buy the Sigma 50mm art. The performance will knock your socks off. But if you're not working on one of these higher resolution cameras, then to me, the Sigma 50mm is really pointless. I find it very interesting how Sigma have chosen to segment these lenses in the market. The 35mm art I see widely adopted by wedding photographers and portrait photographers, people who are shooting lots of photos of people. And I can back up with my own experience that the 35mm art is really amazing for photos of people. I think that it just has a really nice look to it. And yet, in designing some of the other lenses for their art series, they've chosen to use optics that, to be honest, I find quite unflattering for people photos. While I haven't personally used the 85 or 135mm art lenses, some of my colleagues have shared their experiences with me, and it seems consistent that these lenses are designed for piercing sharpness. You may have already seen my good friend Connor Tian on this channel when we unboxed his iPhone XR a little while ago. And he happens to use the Sigma 50mm and 85mm art lenses when he takes photographs of cars. I've left a link below to his website and his work. You should go check him out. Now, I'm not saying you can't shoot people photos with these lenses. I happen to believe that if you're a good photographer, you can use any combination and get good results. It's just that, for my taste, the flavor of these more expensive Sigma art primes can be a bit sour for this type of photography. What I mean by this is that too much detail in a portrait can sometimes highlight those less attractive features of somebody, which can sometimes mean that you're going to be spending more time in post-production to fix those blemishes. Notwithstanding the fact that retouchers will appreciate the extra detail from these super crisp lenses, makes it a little easier to do those adjustments in Photoshop. But if you're not going to spend a lot of time retouching your images, or you don't want to do that, this lens could disappoint you. I think less expensive 50mm options could yield better straight-off camera results because they're just naturally going to be a bit softer. And sometimes softer is actually better, I think, especially with pictures of people. Now, the last thing I want to mention are the ergonomics of this lens. They're bad. The Sigma 50mm art is a big, chunky piece of glass. When using my Canon 5D, I felt it was pretty necessary to attach a battery grip when shooting with this lens for long periods. A lot of the weight is pushed up towards the front of the lens, meaning it's always fighting your wrists and pulling the camera sort of down and away from you. I think the Nikon D800 is well paired to this 50mm lens, as the body has just a chunkier build and balances the weight of the lens a lot better. All I mean to say with this is don't underestimate the ergonomics of a lens. When you have a big chunky piece of glass in the front of your camera and you have to carry that around with you everywhere, I think it's going to make you less inclined to just go out and shoot. So these are the things that you should consider before buying a Sigma 50mm art lens. It's a fantastic lens that produces top-notch image quality, which for some people is going to be perfect. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that like button if you learned something in this video. If you hate my guts, well, smash that dislike button even harder. And make sure to hit subscribe to find out what lens I decided to trade my Sigma 50mm for. And we will see you in the next video.